Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
We are the Gear and Beer Show from Music Villa, lovely downtown Bozeman, Montana. He's Blaze.
Hi, and that's Joe.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone out there.
How
you doing, Joe?
I'm doing pretty well.
You smell great.
I went for a big hike yesterday. I hiked up Baby Ellis Mountain. That felt good.
Baby Ellis.
The one before Mount Ellis. It was a good hike, though.
Just a little hill. That's where the old people always hike to, while everyone else goes to the other one.
It was like 7 miles. Yeah. It was like 7 miles.
That's pretty good.
Trip, maybe 8.
Did you get up a good
7?
sweat?
I sweated so hard. Okay,
nice.
You apply all the sunscreen and then you sweat that shit off. What's up with that?
I don't know. They got whoever invents the cure for that is going to be doing pretty.
And now
well
that I'm
for himself.
losing all my hair, I have to be careful not to burn just the top of my head.
Yeah, it's a solar panel for a sex machine. So we'll get you one of those T-shirts.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to lately? How's your guitar playing been going?
I was in a little bit of a
progressing?
rut. I was in a little rut, so I went online. Actually, I started taking some online lessons. Blues lessons from this guy. It was like blues? Corey, like
Concilio,
Congeniality,
Conseco,
Gelato.
I love gelato.
Yeah,
as a healthy alternative. I watched Corey as well. He's a hero of mine. So
I learned some things, but I thought you and I, honestly, I was meaning to talk to you about this because I think you and I could do it. We could do our own, and we could help some people out. We could.
Yeah.
We're teachers. We could.
Watching Corey is very inspiring, and it makes me, you start seeing these worthless little snot-nosed kids running around.
Yeah.
And they need a guidance.
Yeah.
So I think we should do it. We should do our own
with their Justin
online
Bieber
lesson.
And their fidget machines. And
yeah. They need to do something. Put their concentration in something else. So I thought we should. I think we should do our own. Use this. We got this show. Let's do a lesson format.
Yeah. What were you thinking? I was thinking something where we don't even play guitars.
I think we do rhythm first.
Okay. Yeah.
And go from there. Give me a note.
Okay.
All right, so that was from the D. That's a D. Okay.
And we chant a little bit.
Got them old time of rockin' roll.
Oh yeah. The kind of music just soothes my soul. Reminiscing about the days of old. And that old time of rockin' roll.
That's our first lesson.
That's our first
today.
lesson.
I think that went well.
Yeah. What do you think about $12 for that lesson? We charge?
Yeah, well, you can get the full lesson of that for $12.
Make it so we can slow down so they can get the claps right.
Yeah.
In the notes.
Not moves. So please subscribe and you'll get your first free lesson, and then it'll be $12.
Paul mentioned something about Martin. There's Martin people with Martin guitar coming to the store this weekend for the event, the anniversary Musicville anniversary event.
No, I didn't know. I didn't even know there was an event.
Corey does stuff for Martin.
He's connected with Martin.
He's an ambassador for Martin Guitars.
Do you think he might show up? It would be great. It's too bad we didn't think about getting him on our show.
Cool. I think we should pitch our lesson idea to him. Maybe he wants to.
Yeah, he might want to leave True Fire because they're kind of a startup.
You have like opening acts. Maybe he wants us to open up his lessons with some.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Who could that be?
Someone at the door.
What in the heck?
Oh my God! Speak of the devil.
Dude,
I don't know.
In live in the flesh.
It's good to see you, but I don't know what you're trying to teach here. I mean, man. The only thing.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, the only thing I think you could teach me is probably how to open up one of these.
Now you're talking,
right?
Oh yeah.
I've seen you guys in action.
Okay.
But, you got the groove
how to
down.
get us.
You got
us
the groove
happy.
down. The clapping is, I employ clapping in my lessons.
Okay, if you need an opener for your lessons,
there's a tab for Corey's going to transcribe the tab for all the clapping.
That's right. Yeah. But if you're an opener, you don't get a sound check. You don't get a green room. So
you got to earn that. You got to work your way. Yeah.
You get one drink ticket, not for a beer.
No guest list.
Yeah. It's lightly water.
That's all right. I don't have any guests.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I played a football stadium the other day, and I couldn't give away the tickets.
Oh, man.
I was like, what the heck, people? Come on.
Wow.
Not cool at all.
I don't want to drive there.
And it was Pop Warner,
exactly.
too.
It was raining.
Go ahead and have my seat. I'm going to go over here.
Thanks,
come on in, hang out.
All right.
Hang out with
Thanks
us
for
a
bringing
little
beer.
bit, Corey.
Look at this. Corey brought us some local beers.
That's right.
From some of our really good friends down the street, the Plum Street Porter.
Yeah,
This is
Bozeman
what,
Brewing Company.
This is what the Jen likes this beer. Am I correct about that?
Well, my wife, she doesn't talk to me anymore. She's in love with Corey. No, she caught me doing a video. No, she loves the coffee stout.
Oh, okay.
See, I was
From
looking for a coffee stout,
Bridger.
and I couldn't find one.
I remember random
the
things about people.
Bridger
I know
Brewing,
Blaze's
another
wife's a
local
dark beer.
Yes,
beer
yeah,
lady.
she does like port, but Bridger, when she does drink beer, but usually she's drinking vodka and I can't find her, and the kids are running around. But no,
give
she
me another chaser.
Bridger Brewing will be canning, and they have a wonderful coffee stout with a
Yeah.
local coffee,
Yeah.
Ghost Town.
I'll remember
This is a great porter,
That's a
though.
good
This
beer.
is lovely.
Yeah, well,
So
I rolled the dice. I saw Bozeman on it. Saw Porter. I'm not
I love it.
one of these IPA guys. I know I'm gonna get
I'm
a lot of
moving
hate.
a little bit away
you
from
know.
that.
It's like
I love IPA.
it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
That's fine. Hey,
Heavy.
Porters and
it's
ales.
different.
you
Yeah.
know?
Porter, I love.
I like
Pilsen
sour.
stouts.
I like sours and the kind of lighter beers in the summer.
Mhm.
We did watch. You did admit that you watched Big Little Lies the other day, or whatever that's called.
It's
that
good,
chick
man.
Movie.
Yeah.
Chick
It's
show.
really good.
Drinking your sour, watching.
They're
the
gonna
girl
win
shows.
awards. There is acting prowess
Unbelievable.
on that show.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying.
You
And it's got
watch
good
that. I
music,
watch
too.
martial kung fu movies. That's
I mean, I watched John Wick
We're
right
different.
after Blaze. I had
Okay.
to
Cleanse the palate with John
Yeah.
Wick.
let's open a beer.
Yeah.
What do you have? Are you in? What kind of movies do you like, Corey? Since we're
Oh,
gonna get
man.
personal too.
You
We're
know-
gonna get to know your gear, but I want to ask you some personal
I'm
questions.
not going to be that exciting when it comes to this because I'm like one of these guys.
If you say
where
pretty woman, you can leave right now.
it's more of like a fried green tomato.
Joy Luck Club.
The Notebook.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
On Golden
Sisterhood
Pond.
and the Traveling
Oh,
Pants.
I love that.
God
yeah.
damn it.
So, me and Blaze will stop being jerks. We won't. Actually, we won't. But for a minute. But Corey Congilio, everybody, really happy to have Corey
He's
here.
probably our highest
beer.
profile guest here.
We actually we
Nowhere to go but up.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. We're quitting after this.
But
We made him our.
yeah, go ahead. I
Oh,
say
no,
we
no,
have
go
a
ahead.
long time relationship with Music
Totally.
Villa though.
Yeah, I've
and
been
Corey.
here a bunch.
Yeah, we
Yep,
first met
done some
you here
workshops.
a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And you started coming to Music Villa with Martin Guitars,
Right.
with workshops, and that whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we have this long-standing cool thing, and
Which I was
You get
excited because
out
I
here
knew
a
you
few
from
times a year?
Truefire, just watching, watching your videos.
Right.
I think
I don't play guitar and I just like to watch. That doesn't creep. I hope that's not creepy.
I'm so
How long is this
freaked out,
video going to
too.
be now?
Sometimes like on Titanic, I draw just pictures of you. No,
Hit me as one of
but
your
I'm not
guitar
creepy.
heroes.
but I'm familiar with that, and your lessons are great,
Thanks,
and
man.
all the True Fighter lessons. So we're subscribers, we love it. But anyway, I was really psyched that you're a part of Martin and they're coming to our store, and that was very
Yeah,
cool.
thanks.
And yeah,
Yeah, and last time you were in Bozeman, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was 1 year ago-ish for our grand reopening.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Big party, which was a blast. And Corey did a big acoustic thing, presentation, really great for Martin. Played a bunch of Martin guitars, talked about that.
then he got drunk and did karaoke on a table.
The
And Tiny
Neil Diamond
Whitey's.
was
Yeah.
flowing. And
Yeah.
it was like,
So-
A lot of you don't know
Yeah, the
what he
Neil
does
Diamond was
after the
fun.
lesson and the workshops. Okay.
I bought Tidy Whitey's just to do that. I'm usually more of a boxer dude now.
Give me a 3-pack.
I have an extra pair so I can whip them out and wing them at the crowd, Good ladies
They
like
fly
that,
good
yeah.
in the air. You can snap them.
Yeah, you can snap them.
But yeah,
So
go ahead, sorry.
I'm excited today because we've always done these acoustic events with Corey.
Right.
Today we get to play electric guitars, and
Yeah.
Corey
Yeah,
was
talk
kind
about
enough
his
to bring
gear.
a couple electrics over of his own. We have some of his gear
Well,
here.
Speaking of
We'll
True
ask
Fire, it
about
worked
that.
out because I was filming Wednesday and Thursday in Florida
Nice.
for True Fire, and I
Yeah.
just flew here from there. And Dustin was like, "Man, it'd be great if you had some of your gear." I was like, "I actually have
Perfect.
all of my gear."
That
Hell
worked
yeah.
out great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So let's bust out the pedalboard here.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it
The
up.
unveiling.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to ask you, now where are you from?
Okay, so I live in Nashville. That's home.
That's home.
And it's been home for about 6 years. I grew up in western New Jersey, and I lived for a long time in Pittsburgh. So I
Okay.
grew up, the funny thing about this whole connection is I grew up 20 minutes east of the Martin factory.
Wow.
Oh,
And
wow,
I
yeah.
kind of, they didn't have a pointy headstock, so I didn't really care about it when I was like 13, you know.
You're like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. There's a guitar
Bunch of
factory near
Amish
my
people
house.
making
yeah,
guitars.
exactly. Yeah, and like I was more interested, I think, that Mario Andretti lived right up the street than that. You know?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Where in Jersey was that? Like Trenton or
It's
something?
it's a little town called Phillipsburg, which is like kind of a ink blot on a map.
Yeah.
You know? And but it's kind of an area of the world with like no identity, because you can root for Philadelphia teams or New York teams,
right?
Or upstate
cluster.
New York teams,
you
know. And now I live in the South, and it's like college football. It's
that's
it's
the big. Oh yeah,
it's
that's big down
UT,
there.
it's Alabama, it's Auburn,
it's
Roll Tide,
Yeah.
and it's like I like it, but then I'm almost like, all right, can we make something else the focus of our attention? Because it's like, a religion. But I understand it. It's cool. It's like in Alabama, they don't have a pro team.
Deeply rooted in
So I
their
totally think
it's cultural.
Yeah, it's cool. It is. Yeah, and I didn't grow up with that kind of tradition.
Nor did I.
Now, did you have your music influences growing up there? A lot of classic rock.
Totally.
Like, what made you pick
Blues,
up the guitar?
classic rock, a lot of R&B stuff too.
Nice.
So that's kind of what got me into it. I played my dad and my uncles played guitar, all on like the hobbyist level sort of thing, and they were all progressively better as they got younger. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to try to make a career out of this.
You could tinker around on guitar.
Yeah, well, I was playing saxophone early on, and then I was like, well, you can't sing and play sax at the same time.
That's right.
So
you really can't.
You sing through the sax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Careless Whisper.
Yeah. Oh man.
Gets
Getting
me
hot in
every
here. Okay.
It's getting too sexy already.
I'm not usually that sexy in the morning. Okay. Too early in the morning.
That's not
time.
what Joe said.
Hey.
So yeah, then it was
my
just
God.
a natural evolution of guitar came a lot faster to me than the saxophone, probably because I wasn't really reading music and just kind of tinkering and improvising, and then and I got into country music later on, and but there was always funk and fusion and all that kind of stuff, jazz mixed in there.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Bands growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing a little bit in the band scene, but I was always kind of chasing the older dudes, and I just wanted to get out of my town as soon as I could, graduate and go seek out some more players. And oddly enough, I went to Pittsburgh instead of New York or
Pittsburgh's
Philly.
a great city.
Yeah.
But it's a great town, and I met there's a lot of great musicians there.
I mean, there's a history of great art out of that.
Totally.
Andy Warhol's from there.
Exactly, yeah.
But-
George Benson.
George Benson,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And Benson, I don't know, Pittsburgh's cool. That's
Yeah.
I have a lot of love for those cities that are sort of not super prominent mega cities, but the ones that are like working.
Working
I don't know, you have
class.
quality people make a place.
Well, yeah, and it's
People
a
make
blue
a
collar
place.
mentality. That whole we call
Right.
it like the Rust Belt from there to like, and then I filtered into West Virginia and Ohio, and the mentality was the same. I mean, you go 20 minutes outside of Pittsburgh and you're in the country.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh's actually
Right.
beautiful with the
It really
river
is.
and,
Yeah, it's a really great town.
green and
This section brought to you by Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce.
visit Pittsburgh. Visit Pittsburgh, people.
Visit Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but that's a cool city.
Yeah, but I'll tell you that now, as a homeowner and living in Nashville for 6 years and being around so many friends, like my friend and community group has like quadrupled, and I never thought that would, because I figured it would be like super ultra competitive.
Right,
But it's
cutthroat in
actually
Nashville.
the opposite. It's more, people are more helpful,
Very supportive,
there,
helpful.
because if they can't do a gig, they want somebody they can rely on to sub it to.
Right.
And in smaller towns, there's a little bit more of the gigs are harder to come by, and it's
Yeah, I
a
can
little
see
more
that.
of a hoarding of it,
Yeah.
So I was always trying to wedge my way into little scenes in Pittsburgh, and it never panned out as much as I tried.
Yeah. I get that.
But I learned a lot.
Yeah, and I've noticed that about Nashville just from talking to folks like you. It's like I'm always like, oh, I met this person or that, and they're like, oh, that's that. We have barbecues. That's my friend.
Yeah.
We do we share like the songwriter community.
Right,
Which you
the
are
songwriter
part
community.
of.
Well, yeah, I mean, I play
cool.
with a lot of songwriters, and I write songs, but that's a community even unto itself, which is even deeper and
And
has
is
more
that
connected.
and like the whole Towns Van Zandt, Guy Clark, when those Towns is Texas guy,
Texas,
but,
yeah.
but like Guy Clark and
Yeah,
that club. What's his name? Guy that we really like. who
Will Sound
wrote all
Ramsey?
the,
No.
I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, a lot of those folks are friends, and they're
Nashville
like
guy.
rooting from that. Like then the Guy Clark days, those dudes would get together,
Yeah.
and
Todd
pick
Snyder.
and drink and hang
Well,
out. Todd
one-
Snyder,
Todd
the
Snyder.
Night
One
Club.
successful
Yeah.
song by one successful writer helps elevate other people, and a label person one time told me, she said, high tides raise all ships.
Yes,
And
yes.
and that's kind of what I've tried to
Daryl
live
Scott.
by.
Daryl Scott's who I was trying to think of.
Tattoo.
It's
New
on my list of
tattoo
tattoos.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Be cool,
That's a
like
good
nice,
one.
like a nautical theme,
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm getting
With
tattoos
a
later
fight
in
with
life.
martial
Yeah, me
arts.
too. I'm with you on that. Me too.
I am too. I haven't ever had them,
because
but I
I
wanna
didn't
get
have
them
any
now.
money. Like I look at these 20-year-olds, I was like, where are they getting all the money
My-
for these sleeves?
When I was
Yeah.
playing
They
like
look badass.
when I was
but-
playing like punk rock bands
Yeah.
and stuff as a younger person,
Yeah.
my band, we're always like getting it done with fewer tattoos. Showing up and just like rocking face.
It's more punk rock to not do that.
That's how I felt.
That's how I felt too. But I think now, like, now you're mature.
I would do them right on.
Like, I want dad tattoos.
I was so badass. We'd do the tattoos.
Like Satan changing diapers.
We would do the tattoos right on stage, you know?
Yeah.
Dad bod, dad tattoo.
Yeah.
I want a tattoo of a dad bod on my arm.
Always loving my kids. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Going out for runs. Sunset.
It's like monogamy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Netflix
I have it backwards
subscriber.
in the mirror, monogamy.
Yeah, right.
So I can see it in the mirror, backwards on my chest. So I look in the mirror in the morning, you know? And I've always remembered to brush, Mom.
That's punk rock.
Yeah.
Damn it. So you, at an early age, you're like, I'm going to do this as a career. You're like, you know what? I'm going to be a veterinarian. And they're like, no, I'm going to do guitar. No.
I think I had like astronaut dreams when I was like 7 or 9 or something.
Right.
But I remember at 13 we had this. It was in 6th grade. They were kind of teaching us how to write a resume, and I had already written mine. Where like I had graduated from Berkeley and I did all stuff. So like I knew at that age. I'd only been playing guitar for like a year then. That you know.
You just really
that's
what
how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it was that, and I think it's good for a young person to like. If you can grab onto an identity or something at an early age and have it be a part of your trajectory, I think it's super helpful.
Big time.
Yeah.
I'm so on that tip.
Yeah.
And man, I think my young students, I always tell them like, man, these teenagers and stuff, like practice your ass off. You're living at your parents' house. You're not like now's the time. Like
totally
be a little socially awkward and like practice and do it because it will reap rewards later in life.
I didn't go to a dance until my senior year, you know, because it was all just stay home, practice.
Me
stay
too.
Home, and the funny thing was, I remember I did some senior thing and I got up and played some terrible song I wrote, and they said, hey, we're going to have this retreat for the student council. We'd love for you to be a part of it. And I was like, finally, like the ultra like cool kids are going to accept me. They're inviting me to this thing. They just wanted me to be the fucking entertainment.
They gave you wedgies the whole time.
Yeah, they're like, so play for us. And I'm like, but I want to be part of like the team building exercise where like, you know, we had like an egg race. No. You wait, you're going to play acoustic guitar and sing, you know,
whatever we want.
Yeah, Margaritaville for us.
Yeah,
You'll be talking to, don't talk.
Yeah. That was like, I was like, all right, I knew it, you know.
So when did you get into songwriting? When did you start? Did you do it from high school, from a young age, and just kind of worked at it? Or?
You know, it's something that I wrestle with because I'm an instrumentalist first, and I always felt like I was a better song helper than a songwriter. Like, I can help you get your song to kind of the finish line.
I love that.
Like that was more of my thing, and I loved it, and I also realized that I was actually, when doing that, I was producing the singer at the same time.
You like backing up singers?
Yeah, I think I'm
and it
really
is like a
good
production
you're,
role.
you're a good singer.
How they're approaching.
Do you like doing singing harmony? And is that the thing you've worked on in Nashville?
Oh yeah. Well, the funny thing was I lived in Nashville in the early 2000s and got my butt kicked and moved away with my tail between my legs. I got fired from a band, from an artist, and the vocals were really high. And when they hired me, sight unseen, they said, "Can you sing high harmony?" I said, "Yeah," because I was at the time singing really high harmony
Hard
stuff.
to do.
Little did I know I was covering like female parts for this artist, and they specifically wanted the electric guitar player to sing the harmonies. And that was like, broke my heart, and I moved back to Pittsburgh, and I started taking voice lessons.
Oh.
And the voice lessons helped me to kind of use my body as a...
Wonderland?
Yes.
Oh.
Exactly. And I learned about my bubblegum tongue and all that kind of stuff. That's weird. But John, don't write those lyrics, John, if you don't want us to recite them. We're dudes, you know.
Reminding,
us too.
Subscribe. We're giving away a John Mayer guitar. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And I'm going to enter to win that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but your body, you can learn tools to like help notes come out better and help pitch and all that stuff. Whether it's diaphragmatically breathing or you know, putting air on your soft palate,
syllables,
you know, all that kind of stuff.
There's all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that. It's
cool.
It can get it's
a lot.
very intimate.
Just when you think the singer's just showing up last minute, coming in while you're all setting up and sound checking, prima donna, they're actually doing a lot of stuff.
So to go philosophical or whatever for a minute, you and I had a good talk last year.
Give him the light.
I'm sure you remember every bit of it. But we, we weren't drinking or anything.
Was he bothering you again?
But but it was about what you were just saying, where like oftentimes the technician and the creative, the artist, the best stuff often happens when those two get together. And oftentimes the guy, the technical person, the one who has all the wheedly deedlies, is not going to come up with that idea, that raw idea of that song and that sentiment and that thing. But that person that oftentimes that comes up with that is not going to have the wheedly deedlies.
No, it's a strange balance.
When they get together, that's often when the good stuff happens.
Yeah, for me, it's a constant push-pull thing.
And I feel like you and I feel like we are both in Blaze, even also and Dustin are the guys that are like somewhere we're a little bit in between.
Yeah,
where we like have some. You have more chops than me, but we have like some chops, and we also create our creatives.
Yeah,
right. But I don't know. We're in the gray area maybe. Well, but there's sometimes there's people that are on far ends of that spectrum.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that I don't know.
It's like a serious actor and a color guy or
you almost got to wear the hat.
Dude, I have to turn it on and off because on the True Fire stuff, I was noticing this the other day, and I'm just gonna keep like burping as I drink this. But it's one thing to be recording something. And have the right feel come through. But then there's also a camera pointing at you. And then you also have to have your fingers do a certain thing that look clean. And then you also have to have like the neck of your guitar at a certain way, because they'll be like, hey, can you pull your guitar neck down a little bit so we can get it in the shot, because they'll move the camera. And I mean, there's a 3-camera shoot there, and they do a great job. But sometimes you're just like, do you ever get those when your parents took you to get your portrait, and they're like, okay, do this.
Yeah, and it's like, it's the weirdest,
the most uncomfortable thing in the world. You have to do that and look like you're playing with feel and sound like you're playing.
Right.
So there's that part that I have to turn on, and then I also have to sound like it's inspired and has attitude and all that. And then I want to go be creative and stuff. So it's always wearing different hats. That's a challenge.
And do you ever, I mean, so you do both sides of that.
Yeah.
I can relate. Like I do too. I back people up and I front bands.
Right.
And I just view it that way. I'm like almost like a sportsy way in a sense, where I'm like, if you're point man, if you're, someone has to be the point man. Someone has to call the shot. Someone has to be James Brown.
Right.
Someone has to,
Yeah.
And I like doing that. I like not doing that too. And so you just have to like look at it. I look at it that way, and it's not an ego thing, or it's just like, okay, am I supporting cast? Am I backing up the thing? And this person's driving the ship, or am I driving the ship and calling?
Right.
I love
balance.
I love great leadership, and when there's a lack of it, I know that I can be a great leader.
Yeah.
Because I have a passion for having everyone come across the finish line at the same time and happy, not just me or not just you or anybody. I want it to be this sort of communal thing that happens with everybody at the same time.
So it's like a producer role. Like you want the finished product to be.
Well, how like a pop
thing.
star, every pop star who tours, all of 100% of them have a band leader, and band leader rehearses the band and has the arrangements and all that stuff, and that's their responsibility. And then on the gig, the star, the lead, they're the lead person, but that band leader is. Yeah.
Look at any great band that's like a great lead singer and a great guitar player coloring it up, or and then they might switch to songwriting or share it. But The Who, AC/DC.
How about co-writes in Nashville? Do you find yourself doing a lot of co-writes?
It's been a downtime for me now because I've been touring a lot, so I haven't done that. But I started to. When it comes to co-writing, you find people that you work well with, and then you just kind of stick with them, because you get into a situation where you can write with somebody for 3 hours and get like 2 lines. Yeah, you're just not connecting.
But do you think sometimes you need? At least I've found, I might have this idea, it's so close, but I need that. I need to bounce it off that friend to get that, and they might give me one thing.
I have this one friend. I have this one friend named Phil Roselle, and he and I write a lot. It's been a while since we have, but we will generally. We have a great system where. He goes, I got this thing, and here's my concept. And I'm like, okay, and we talk it out. And I become like, my lyric thing gets so good because he just lets me do what I want, and then he starts making tweaks. And I was like, well, I really want to say, I don't know how to love you. And he goes, that's how you say it. And I'm like, okay, down, next one. You know what I mean? Like, because you're trying to think of some artsy way to say something. Right. And Phil really helps me just sort of stay true to the spoken word, you know, the conversational thing. And he's one thing I also like doing with writers like him is he will we'll write for an hour and a half. If we have half the song, he's like, all right, we're done. We'll come back and do it another. Try and he doesn't like to burn it out. So I'm not a staff writer. I don't have a publishing deal or anything. So I'm not pressured to write 5 songs a week or 10. You know,
hard. That'd be difficult.
So I feel for the people that have to do that because it's a special thing to not write the same song all the time. And all that. So I listened to a podcast recently with Buddy Miller, who I'm a huge fan of, and he was like, fuck the co-writing. He's like, I want to hear you.
Really?
Like, and I was like, wow, like, okay. So it made me kind of...
He writes with Susan, doesn't he?
Well, he writes with his wife a lot, you know, and I know he does probably co-write some, but I think his point was like, you'll find your truer voice the closer you write to your own thing. But that being said, I've written with some great... I played with some great artists who have... Some of their greatest songs are all co-writes, you know. And
Buddy's the perfect example, man, of a guy who like has an artist unto himself, you know, and then he also can go out and do support on a tour and just.
It's funny why I'm attracted to him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan of him for years.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I keep bringing you up, and I did it last night. The Bob Dylan thing that's on Netflix, the
I just saw
Thunder.
That. Yeah.
Oh my God, I finally finished it last night. Yeah. I've been telling him about it, but the ending. It's Allen Ginsberg. I just brought it up because it kind of relates to it. I can't even remember what he said, but what he said right at the ending, like he's kind of doing like this, go out, make it. He's doing this riff on go out and create your own space, to your own person, do your like really get in the pocket of who you are and create your own world, kind of like what Dylan did in a way, and that was really inspiring and cool. So I can't remember what it is. You have to look it up and watch it, but. It relates to kind of what you're all talking about. Finding your space, creating it, being creative with that, and creating your own world. And I think there's a comfort in that with your own songwriting and matching your voice. I tell students
that, man, all the time. It's like you're the
really cool.
you. No one else can do you.
That's
like
right.
You do you.
I've recently become friends with someone I admired for years, Butch Walker. And when I first started talking to Butch, I said, "So what's your writing process like?" He's like, I know you live in Nashville. And I don't do the co-write thing. You know, he was like, I'll write a song, and if somebody really likes it, they can cut it. He said, but generally that doesn't happen. He's like, those songs they're mine because they mean something to me. And he was like, and it's just like probably anybody else. He's like, I drive down the road and I pull my phone out and I say stuff into it. You know, and I was like, you know, somebody that's got a bunch of records and produced a bunch is kind of just like me or you or whoever. You know what I mean? So it's good to hear from people that you admire.
Be confident in your own creativity and your own thoughts.
Absolutely,
because they're yours. They're unique.
Yeah, and a side note, I'll post books and podcasts and things to my Instagram that I like a lot. And one I posted.
So this
recently,
won't be one of them. Sorry.
We'll give a shout out.
We won't find this one there. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. But a book called the Icarus Deception by Seth Godin is amazing because each page is like heavier than the next, and it's these little blurbs about how the world. And I'll get wax philosophical here. The world needs your art, you know, and the resistance is going to tell you that the world doesn't need your art and that your art isn't worthy and all that stuff. So if you hold a concert and there's 2 people that show up, well, those 2 people came to you because they needed your art, you know. Yes. And it's page after page after page of that in different examples, and it's so inspiring. I've been reading it for years, a little bit here and there. I'll go back to the beginning. I'll go to the end. Like, and I carry it with me on every plane ride.
What's it called? Icarus.
The Icarus Deception, because Icarus was taught not to fly too high towards the sun, right? Because his wings would burn. However, the story goes that he was also told not to fly too close to the ocean because the humidity would melt his wings. So it's a metaphor for not underachieving.
Not to be selfish here, but I had a gig
here we go,
like a month ago. A place that I'm playing actually tonight. This meadery in town, and they're awesome people. Valhalla, you guys rock.
Meadery?
And we don't think.
Okay.
Valhalla Meadery, though. Thank you. You guys are super cool. But anyway, I played there, my first time I'd ever played there, and I brought a whole band up, and it's this little room, and we're loud and stuff, and I was really trying to play to the room, and I had 15 people or something there. And one of my good friends, though, came up to support, sat through the whole show, and he was like, I don't know, like pull the energy of the room together. And he was like, dude, Joe, like you. What I love is that like you were like, if you're at Madison Square Garden or here, you're playing the same. You're giving it the same. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's because big. You're here, Calvin. Yeah. I'm like Calvin Farrell, but I'm like, man, it's because like you're here and you're like, I have all like
absolutely.
The fact that you're here makes me like, I want to play the best I can. I want to give that. I'm not. Like why would you shortchange it?
No, you can't shortchange anybody.
Yeah, you're there. Yeah. Do it.
And there are musical wallpaper gigs. We've all played them.
Tons.
But I've had a new lease on my musical life where I've gotten to play a bunch of really great venues over the past few years, and I was just out on this tour where we played a lot of arenas, and when I would see the little kid on the shoulders of the dad right there, I would run and I would hand them a pick. Because I wanted that guitar player to do that for me.
Well, and that stuff sticks with them.
That's cool. And now and my picks have my name on them, so people are reaching out and they're saying that meant so much to my daughter. Now she wants to play guitar. It's that's a win. That's cool. That's why I did it.
I mean, that's it, man.
I just watched a buddy of mine, Chase Bryant, who's a country artist, gave a guitar to a girl that was watching his every move.
Cool.
He's like, I know you want to play. I'm going to give you a guitar. Right off of his guitar wall.
Doesn't that feels good?
Yeah. 20 years later, who knows? She's going to record it.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Okay, enough of this
we need to make
inspirational stuff going on here.
I enjoy this, but
gear.
I know, like,
I love
like, people get impatient. It's just like, come on. Like, there's so much gear stuff out there.
Blinking lights right in my face. Yeah. Talk about them, damn it.
Talk about
You want the PRS, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We hand that behind.
I think
actually, you got to lift up the leg of your stool.
Oh, sorry. Hold on, people.
There it is.
Boom.
Bam. Thanks.
Sweet.
So maybe we can run through some of your signal chain while we're doing this.
Yeah. So
is one of these just controlling the mod on a delay?
Yes, it's that one over there. For
people who are listening, not watching, Corey's got 2 of the Dunlop mini volume pedals here, which is a great pedal.
Each side of the board.
And the pink one's volume actual.
And I have terrible. My eyesight's horrible, and I like to put this on the volume pedal so I can see it in a dark room.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
I haven't done that.
I like that you have. He has these
barefoot buttons.
Yeah.
You guys have them in stock here. I saw
that. That's a great thing.
Starting to see that more and more, and that's handy. That's good.
Well, for a lot of the stuff that you have to hit 2 buttons at once, it's real helpful. And then these little guys, it's nice to kind of be able to stomp on them as well.
So are you running an effects loop or a buffer?
No. Well, I'll walk you through it. So the company in Nashville, Exact Tone Solutions, or XTS, builds my boards. Excuse me. They do an amazing job. If you can see how meticulously this is wired.
Yeah, this is really neat.
The biggest reason for this is it's an insurance policy. When you're playing a lot of like venues where you're the opening act and there's stagehands grab your shit off the stage, and I've seen them start to unplug everything. I've seen them start to take the spurs off of bass drums, and then springs and screws are flying everywhere. So I want this to be as self-contained as possible and idiot-proof. So if somebody has to plug it in, there's an in, there's an out, and a power. That's all there is to it. So they can pull the cords and pull the board off stage. I know that sounds like rich guy guitar problems, but no, it's like real stuff. Like a lot of these gigs that I do, we're the opener to a large act, and we have a small crew where they're taking care of other stuff, and I'm responsible to get my stuff off of a stage, even if it's in an arena. It's still the way it works. So XTS wired this to my specs, and it always changes. I think it's going first into the compressor, if I remember. They have this little custom interface on the side for in and out, so I don't have to go into a pedal and
then out.
That's
a JHS?
Right. See, this is the JHS Whitey Tighty, and I just like the small footprint.
It's just fun. It hits home right here.
People say to me, they go, I never saw a pedal with underwear on it before. I was like, I need that thing.
I get underwear on my pedals all the time.
Real underwear. I got panties.
So the idea...
Grandma panties.
Granny panties.
And this is on a pedal train thing.
Yeah, it's a pedal train.
So these guys designed this whole thing.
Yeah, and they put a piece of wood over top to like give you more surface area on the pedal train.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, and then they put a little hole in there to run the wires through.
Boy, it is super clean.
It's really clean.
It looks really clean.
Shout out to Barry and
zip
Eric.
ties, really well done.
My pedalboard's got hantavirus. This thing is beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you, for years and years, I'd do my own stuff, and I'd have I would be a regular at Home Depot buying all the wire ties and shrink and all that stuff, and I'd get it to the gig and it still wouldn't work. Because it gets bounced around and something comes unplugged. A lot of times the power supply will come unplugged from underneath, So you got to make sure you troubleshoot that. It's a True Tone power supply in there.
Playing dirty dive bars like me and Blaze, you get a lot of dirt and crud on your pedals.
There's a bunch of crud on here.
So whitey tighty, JHS whitey tighty.
And then it should go, this is somewhere, so this is a Mosaic from Digitech. It gives me like a 12-string sound, but I used to have a Deja, or a, what's that, the
Deja Vibe?
Not Deja Vibe.
The
Dry Bell, that vibe. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
But I switched it out because we play some songs where I want this kind of
D-tune chorus thing.
One of the songs kind of goes, so it adds a little bit of a top note to it. So that's fun, but I can pull that off. Then I'm pretty sure it goes to the Greer Lightspeed, which is my favorite light overdrive pedal. Greer pedals are awesome.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of them that Nick
hear
sent
that.
me.
Can we just hear that real quick? Yeah.
So my test is to always didn't change that much. I try to match the level.
Subtle overdrive.
I want to sound like a broken up amp if possible.
A little hair.
Then what I can do with the compressor, the compressor is on in front of it, so it'll thicken it up a little bit.
So wait, are you a compressor on all night guy? Or
no. And it's a light amount of compression too, and the blend is
gotta have a compressor with a blend. So you only using that for tight twang?
Yeah.
Tight twang?
No, I'll use it for like thickening up.
Yeah, sustain.
Because I want multiple options. I want this. Then I want a thicker one too.
Yeah,
so that's really fun. Then it goes to the ODR Mini from Nobles. The Nobles ODR1 is a legendary pedal that used to be easily found until a bunch of Nashville guys blew it up, and then the internet blew it up. You can find vintage ones now for $250, where in 1997 they were $79.
Mine's worth some money. I did not pay that for mine.
Yeah, so I have two vintage ones.
Yeah.
And then I have one of those is rehoused because the boxes are kind of old and
the big
plastic.
Square one with the plastic button?
Yeah,
it's like a size
exactly.
Like a tube screamer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what they do is this company XTS, they'll rehouse it and put the guts in a new box.
Oh.
So it's a little sturdier. I have one of those too. I have a stupid amount of money in just two pedals. But I went over to Paul McCartney said told me never to name drop. So, but I was at Kenny Greenberg's house, who's a session guitar player in town, and he had a stack of Nobles, like it was crazy. So the cool thing about this one is that you can run it at 9 or 18 volts. Okay. And to me, it sounds more like the original at 18 volts. And XTS did a mod that tightens up the low end a little bit, because these are kind of thumpy on the low end. But it's a little bit more of that sort of modern, Nashville. But still very amp-like, Then I can stack it with that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can stack it again.
Oh, yeah, man. Perfect.
So I'm gain staging all the time.
That's my jam. I'm a 3-tier guy. I gotta have it.
I love that. So now here's something cool.
I'm only a 2-tier.
So then it goes to, I just found this thing. So Greenberg also told me about this. It's called the Nightshade. Super mid-rangey, kind of like an Ibanez Distortion sound to me. So let's say I'm here. I throw this on. So turn that on and off while I play. Hear that mid-range really kick in?
Yeah. Bite. That's bite, too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Definitely give it some bite.
It also has presence.
Yeah,
present and
dig in there.
It's got this kind of cool, creamy sustain that really cuts through the band.
Nice.
Yeah,
so is that solo? Is that a solo?
I've been using it a lot for like a solo boost.
Yeah.
With this in conjunction with the light, or just
with any of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Then you're gonna say, well, where does this fall into place? I'll tell you. I'll tell you in a second. Then it goes to this thing. So this is the Chase Tone Secret preamp that a friend of mine turned me on to. You're familiar with the EP booster?
For sure, I have one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is like an Echoplex type circuit that it's replicating. This one, allows you to use either the EP1, EP2, or EP3 circuit, which is bright, mid, or dark.
And
I changed this.
Those dip switches inside.
Right. So this has it here on the front. It's an always-on type of pedal.
Killer.
And you'll hear it if I just kind of. So here it is off. It's hard to tell in the video probably, but it brings out harmonics.
Yeah. Overtones.
Yeah.
It's sure stoutly built too.
It's very overtone.
So I leave it on all the time.
I love it. I gotta have a 1 knob. I feel like you gotta have a 1 knob clean boost. So is that your clean boost? Technically?
No, I'm using it more as
you say you put this on all the time?
Always on.
This is always running.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it's working as my buffer.
That's a pre
chase tone.
Totally.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then from there, it goes, and this is why XTS is great, because they can do a bunch of convoluted routing and still keep it looking a certain way.
Also, real quick, you have this below 12 o'clock, so is it loud as hell if you... A lot of headroom in that pedal?
I try to match it. Go turn all the way up, see what happens. It's not too bad. Doesn't get out
because the amp's not cooking.
Yeah.
Cool.
Usually, I look at the O, and that's how I know it's pretty close. I like to boost it a little bit.
Yeah.
Then it goes to the Line 6 HX Stomp, which I'm using for a lot of my modulation stuff. This is a really heavy box that I don't use to its full capacity. I'm using it mostly for effects, like tremolo. So if you take that pedal and pull it down... Oh, it didn't work. It should work.
For trem speed.
There we go.
Awesome, man. That's great. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I love that.
So I've kind of figured out how to do
that. For all you listeners, that's a volume pedal.
So you must be doing your
attached to doing.
Or is this all your delays? Are you doing your delays?
I'm doing my delays in here, so I can turn that on.
And same thing with the pedal.
No, I could hook it up to that. I mean, you can do whatever in every patch you want. What's cool about the Stomp is you build a signal chain in there. So, like, if you do this, if you look, I'll try to do it back. I've never done it backwards before. Okay, here we go. That's a little slap echo.
Perfect. Yep.
Then it goes to the delay. Now in here I could put anything else I want. I could put other effects. But then it goes to my delay, which you can tell, you can assign it to the switch.
Color. Yeah, that's your solo delay.
Yep, and then the tremolo. Well, next, okay, what's cool is this box has an effects loop in it. So it's coming out of the effects loop going into this reverb pedal.
Nice.
And then what I can do is...
Cleans it up.
I can turn... So I can put that effects loop block anywhere I want in the signal chain.
Damn, cool.
So check this out. So now, there's my reverb. I can turn that off from here, turn it on, and I can also have nice independent control of my verb here as opposed to digging in and doing that some more. Right. Now, the other thing I learned, I love watching Josh's JHS, his videos, his vlogs. They're amazing. And he was talking the other day about how the tremolo in a Fender amp is after the reverb circuit. So what happens is you get reverb going into tremolo. So it's like it washes all that.
Muddies it up.
So what I did was I put the tremolo block after the effects loop block. So if I put
after reverb.
Yeah, so if I put a long verb on.
Cool, that's cool.
So it's going to modulate the reverb.
Right.
You know, if I bring it down.
That's rad. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just a little stupid nerdy stuff.
And do you find that
that's amazing what you can
now playing larger stages, you have to have a reverb pedal because amps are going to bounce around and weird shit's going to happen.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, there's times when I don't use reverb at all just because it doesn't make it to the mix.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do. So it's nice to have the option.
Do you, this is on a player, not on an effects note, but on a player note, do you find playing through a large line array, playing a huge space, are you finding yourself playing differently, soloing differently, not playing as many busy, frantic licks?
It's like you're at my gigs.
You're like saving the fast stuff because you have to do these like more sweeping.
So it's funny that you say that because I play with an artist. So I play with this guy David Lee Murphy, David Lee Murphy wrote the song "Dust on the Bottle." That was his big song.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Little dust on the bottle.
Exactly.
And I remember playing that song for years in clubs, and then now I get to play it with the guy who wrote it.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
but
cool.
he's also written loads of other hits for Aldine and Chesney and Blake Shelton and stuff. Yeah. So we did 23 dates opening for Chesney. Kenny Greenberg's one of his guitar players, turns me on to a bunch of gear, and he's a super nice guy. And if he plays a lot of the solos, and Kenny is like the quintessential rock guitar player. I mean, it's like so perfect all the time. He's just got this tremendous feel, and when I watched him play, I was like, that stuff is reaching the back of the room, you know, and hitting people. So like if I was, just rock and roll. Whereas before I want to go.
Yeah, totally. That's club
Nobody
play.
hears that. Nobody hears that way in the back.
You only do that in the club.
I want to Neil Sean it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the idea, and Kenny does that as good as anybody.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it really, I was like, you know what, this is.
Don't you think that's a lesson you learn when the first time you get to start playing out through, where you realize yourself coming through a line array, through a big PA, and you go, oh, damn, like I gotta play fewer notes and make them count. It's a whole different way of playing.
Exactly, and
it is different phrasing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm playing for people, and I want them to be inspired.
Yeah.
So if they can't hear what I'm saying, then they're not going to follow along.
Don't you think it's funny as a player? As soon as you get to a point where your facility where you can play fast, then you're like way less interested in playing fast.
One of the things I like once a year I'll play square neck dobro. I haven't probably done it in 2 years now, but when I first started playing dobro, I was getting sessions in like Ohio and stuff because nobody else really did it where I was. But also is like my lack of ability was helpful. Like it made me play more melodic and stuff,
Right.
And I wasn't really worried about impressing anybody or any of that kind of stuff. So
it's more the atmosphere and presence of that instrument.
Of course, that thing is like a human voice. It's crazy.
I saw Mayer last weekend. John Mayer.
Oh, great,
Dead.
nice.
And I've seen them a few times. Him with that group. He just like, man, every time he is better and better.
It's amazing how he's worked on that.
He finds his pocket within that.
He never would have
the rest
thought.
of the guys. And man, this last time he really, really impressed me with his playing.
You could tell he's really into it.
Oh my God, he played he was really inspired. It was inspired playing.
I think it's just a playground for him.
Especially, but especially the second set on Saturday night was really some inspired playing by everyone. Yeah. But John was just like very humbly contributing to the music.
Yeah.
And but he was like going for sound and tone. He was in a space of like, it was not a chop thing. He he played some fast licks, but he was more like super interesting, melodic, tasteful, and playing through the PA. Like really like being super aware of like how his sound was going out into the space.
And mixing with the band.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think in the early days.
And that's not the acid talking.
I think that band was very conscious of that throughout their whole existence. They wanted to take him on a trip, man.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, it was deep.
It's like jazz approach to rock and roll and country and blues.
Totally.
Yeah, it's about
which I love. I think it's such a neat thing. Yeah, with a bunch of other, and then of course the space.
I just found. I don't know if you guys have found this, but as you get older, like as far as a guitar player, like instead of thinking about like I'm gonna play this style or this or that or the other, it's more like what the kind of guitar you would play behind this or that.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing in a Bob Dylan group, the kind of guitar one of Bob's guys would play is like all kinds of blues. It's blues, country. I mean that's
in that Rolling Thunder, Mick Ronson with the Les Paul just kind of rocking.
But that's what excites me more and more. It's like what you would play behind whatever type of song, whatever type of writer.
Yeah, it's like picking the right tool.
Yeah, I'm doing a soul R&B blues New Orleans boogie, and it's very channel Steve Cropper. So I'm like, I had to get a telly. And I love it. And it's
a great guy.
It's perfect.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's cool is that if you have another guitar player playing like a hollow body or something. Yeah, you two will mesh really well.
Oh, I know, and that's what happened for a little bit.
Another Mayer quote that I really liked was he was like, it's like handwriting. It's like you're kind of like learning someone's handwriting.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of cool to think of it that way. It's like, you know, because the uniqueness.
He certainly thought about stuff on a deep level, so I appreciate his quotes for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now you also brought we got to talk about the SG a little bit, right?
Well, real quick,
and we're going to wrap it up, but we need to talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
Right? And your PRS.
But this is so PRS and I struck up a relationship earlier this year, and actually it was like late last year, and Rich from PRS said, "Well, what are you playing these days?" And I was playing a lot. I have a 64 Junior SG Junior at home, and I have a 61 Epiphone Casino, which is like
Sweet.
The Lennon year. Yeah. It's nice. Amazing. Awesome. They're both amazing guitars with incredible P90s. And he was like, well, I got this McCarty 594 here sitting in my office. I'll send it to you to check out. And I was like, awesome. And then I looked and saw, like, you know, what these guitars were all about. And I was like, holy crap, these are really amazing. From what I understand, the true scale of a 59 Les Paul is 24.9594.
Yep.
And that's what this guitar is modeled after. And I just really appreciate their approach and forward thinking. They're trying to do their own thing, but also kind of like Martin in a way. Like Martin guitar, like kind of holds on to their history, but they know that they have to forge ahead as well. And this company does it as well as anybody.
Paul's
get
amazing.
A balance
yeah,
of that.
Paul's really cool.
And man, they intonate those guitars. Like they are in tune up the neck.
Yeah, and that's when you're doing session stuff, you got to be fast and you got to be in tune, and these guitars do that for sure. But yeah, so this guitar is possibly the most, you know, when it comes to social media and videos and stuff, the most commented on guitar. This is a 64. I know it's gonna sound weird. It's a SG Junior that was converted, and the Junior has one pickup, wraparound tailpiece, and this was mangled by someone years and years ago and put two humbuckers in it, and they actually did a good job. They're where they should be. It's really interesting because you don't really see a two humbucker guitar with a wraparound.
No, you don't.
Too much.
The pickups are very close together.
Yeah,
they are.
It's a cool, it's a cool sounding guitar. So the long story is that there's a really great guitar player in Nashville, Ryan Warner. His dad is also a very famous guitar player, Steve Warner.
Yeah.
And Ryan found this guitar in Groons. It was white. You can see there's some white coming through here.
Yeah.
And he said it had like DiMarzio super distortion in it and stuff. This was obviously somebody that wanted to rock up this SG and just hacked away at it. So he found that guitar kind of like in this configuration, and he's like, "Oh, this is really cool. I'm going to buy it." And he had it for a while, and he goes, "Man, I want to get it refinished." And the guitar builder Jeff Sen, I believe, refinished it in this pale and blue color. And the story that Ryan told me was that everybody was like, "No, don't finish it. It's gonna be devalued." He's like, "It's already devalued. They hacked it up."
Right.
So, and then once they saw the color, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you nailed it!"
That's very cool.
So,
it's that aged pale and blue where it starts green
exactly.
out.
Yeah. And another funny thing happened with the finished ones. I'll tell you in a second. But this guitar was bought and sold in Nashville. I think I'm the 5th or 6th owner of this guitar, and I've been offered money for it all the time, and I have yet to feel like I want to part with it. So it's really fun.
So you've taken that one on tour, huh?
I take this one on tour, and I use that one, and I use the Paul Reed a lot too.
Sweet.
And I use I have an S2 standard Paul Reed that's been great because I like having a trem.
Do you think SG is like a secret country guitar?
Well, especially if you have low output pickups, because it's thinner, doesn't resonate as much as Les Paul.
I saw Lucinda Williams guy was playing one of those almost the whole night last time. That guy.
I wish
I remember his name.
It was probably.
He's way good.
Doug Pettibone, maybe. Was it him?
Maybe or.
They have such a strong, pure tone.
Great guitar player.
Yeah, makes perfect for a powerful
What
lead
pickups are those, Corey?
Here's a funny thing. People ask me all the time. I think. Because I've never opened it up. I think they're Lawler Imperials.
Oh, sweet.
Which are great low output pickups.
Those are on
those
are on Eastman guitars. Call Music Villa Eastman. Okay.
Boy, how different is that from the PRS?
Lot different.
Yeah.
Dude, those are very low output.
Oh yeah.
The
guitar's all the way up.
Have you ever experienced squealy feedback from low output pickup with compressor on?
Yes, I have. And I think does that come from the potting of them?
I think it's not wax potted, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about yesterday on our show, but
So I try to make sure I have pickups that are potted. If it's going to be a guitar that's meant to be super vintage, I leave them that way. Mm-hmm. But I have a guy that makes pickups for me sometimes. They're called Lust for Tone pickups. And he made some custom mini humbuckers that he didn't pot them at first, and they were great. And then he sent me another set that were potted, and they sounded just as good. And they were just killer, you know. And I was like, man, low output is the thing for sure. Yeah. But the other thing about this guitar, I was playing this gig once it was a 4th of July gig 2 years ago, and I flew into the gig, and then I drove home, or I flew home, but they took my gear in a U-Haul trailer that took on water, like just a little bit, but enough, like, and this guitar was in a gig bag, and I pulled it out, and there's a thing on my Instagram somewhere where it's like, the whole guitar was cloudy, and I was like, oh man, like, it's cool, it's already beat up. And I was getting like an outpouring of like people saying, that sucks, man, I'm so sorry. I just took quadruple O steel wool and I just rubbed it all. And since it's nitrocellulose lacquer, it kind of came back. And you'd never know. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I can't tell.
I just dropped my blue chip pick. Now, if you know anything about that,
I'll step on
$35 pick.
I'll step on it and pretend we didn't find it. Sorry. Now I got a new blue chip.
Yeah.
Hey, let's wrap it up. You know what I think we should do?
Yeah.
Actually, we always are now two things. We're always wrapping it up with a final quick antidote or story from our guest. But I think we should outro with Joe playing Satan is Real and you leading on
That's right.
And I'll just kind of hang out and maybe I'll do something.
What are the chords? Just it's like a G. I don't know if I want to play
I thought you played it, no?
Years ago.
Okay.
I can't remember things from years ago. I can't rember where I was years ago.
But do
I
you
did
have
play it years ago.
But let's do a final antidote or go see Corey at True Fire. Any other things to tell him about where to find you on the internet or something?
My website, CoreyCongilio.com. Go to my social media stuff and follow me there and chat with me.
Yeah. Again, True Fire is a wonderful resource
really
for.
Great. Yep.
It's almost overwhelming. There's so much stuff on it, and it's all awesome.
So
and Corey, you are one of the better. Not to diss anyone, no, but you're one of my favorite instructors.
Thank you.
I love some of the stuff, and I love those blues riffs. Quick, like boom, here you go.
It's a little
boom. It's like
idea.
so cut to the chase. It's such a great style.
Yeah, stay tuned in 2020.
And you have new stuff coming.
My website's going to have some stuff that independently I'm releasing, and it's going to be a fun year.
Cool. So one more time, Instagram.
Corey Congilio. I'm the only one that exists. My last name's Congilio. Congilio. You'll get it.
Cool. All right. Hey, we're Beer and Gear from Music Villa in lovely downtown Bozeman, Montana. And that's Joe, Blaze, Corey.
That's not right, but working with power. I can't remember the rest of the song. Three guitars tuned differently. That's how I like to do it. Thanks, Corey.
And check the tuning on this one. All right, take care, y'all. Thanks, Corey.
You guys.